Hey, um, so I am gonna talk about the first seizure that I had. Um, it was my freshman year of high school, um, November of 2013. Um, so I was, okay, so a few days before I had the seizure, um, something just didn't feel right. Um, I can't really explain what it felt like. I just knew that something was just not feeling right, and I didn't say anything to anybody because, I mean, I was 15. It could have been from puberty. So I thought, oh, maybe it's just hormones. I don't know. As funny as that may sound. Um, well, the day that I had the seizure, um, I woke up for school. I was feeling a bit dizzy. But I didn't get very much sleep the night before. Um, I just kept hearing this song that just seemed so familiar to me, but I couldn't figure out the name of it or anything. I all I remember is just hearing this song, and I kept having headaches on and off. Um, but I didn't really think anything of it. So, getting ready for school, and I go to school, and that dizzy feeling went away, and I was kind of relieved. So I continue on with my day at school, and lunchtime comes around. That dizzy feeling came back. And also, I had this weird tingling sensation on the crown of my head. And I just kind of ignored it. I thought, I didn't even know really what to think about it because I'd never felt a sensation like that before. So I just shrugged it off. Well, went into the hallway just before to wait for the bell to ring. And I remember that that tingling sensation started spreading um in on my in my head. Um, it slowly spread like throughout my head, and I remember saying something to somebody. I can't exactly remember who it was, but I remember saying something that something doesn't feel right. And the next thing I know, I'm waking up with some people around me. I don't really remember. I don't remember who they were. But that the description of how it felt, I just I was in a lot of pain, like the worst pain that I have ever been through. I just physical pain. I couldn't figure out what happened, and then someone told me, like 10 or 15 minutes later, because I don't really remember, um, what was going on. The last thing I remembered from that experience was I was in the hallway, and I can't remember if I was standing up or sitting down. Um, but I remember waking up in the office in a wheelchair, or coming to, however you want to put it. Um, and a couple of people asked me if I was okay, and I said I don't know. And at this point, I was seeing like pure white. Like I couldn't really focus on anything. I heard people talking, but all I saw was white. So, um, I believe it was my dad that came to pick me up, and I was still having these muscle spasms, or um, in my family we call it twitching. They're actually myoclonic seizures. Um, and I believe the principal or the assistant principal told him that I was having seizure activity, and my dad didn't believe it. He just said, "This is not seizure activity." So, um, dad took me to my family doctor that day right after he picked me up, telling the office that I was having bad muscle spasms. So we go there, and as we were waiting for the doctor, um, I was having those muscle spasms still, or the myoclonic seizures, but they were starting to slow down and go away. And by the time I got in to see my doctor, he said, "I believe you had a seizure. You need to go to the ER." Well, went to the ER, and all they did was check my levels, like my blood levels, um, did a CT scan on my head, and that doesn't typically show anything if someone has a seizure unless there's like a brain injury. Um, they said that everything came back normal. Okay, so um, and before I left the doctor's office, he said that he's gonna refer me to a neurologist. So I can't exactly remember how long it was. It wasn't that long after I saw my doctor when I saw my neurologist. And she said that um, like 95% of people get out of jail seizure card. Um, Sometimes people just have them for no reason, and it's like once or twice in a lifetime. It doesn't really mean anything. So we thought, oh, okay. Um, but before I saw my neurologist, I had two more seizures. And this whole time, my family thought I was lying. Like, everybody. They thought I was faking it, looking for attention. Well, I stayed home one day because I just wasn't feeling right. And my one of my moms videotaped me laying on the couch, and she saw she videotaped me having a seizure. And after that, when I came to and I started understanding what she was saying. Um, she said that now that she's seen that seizure, she believes that they're real. And my biological mom, she has epilepsy. She's had it since her early teenage years. Okay. There's sometimes there's people who develop epilepsy from hitting puberty. Um, I know a few people who have started puberty and also started having seizures, epileptic seizures, and then by the time they were 18, they grew out of it. That's, I mean, I was 15 when I had my first seizure, and we all thought, even the doctors at Sparrow, the epileptologists that I was seeing there at MSU, thought, oh, I'll just outgrow it by the time I'm 18. Well, seizures just kept getting worse and worse. Couldn't figure out what was going on, why the seizures were still going. There was at one point I was taking 3 medications, strong medications, and that wasn't controlling my seizures. And then a couple years ago, we found out that one of the medications that I had first started taking was causing me to have more seizures. And you know how they prescribe anti-seizure medications and they're supposed to control seizures? Well, I'd say about 95% of the medications that I was put on caused me to have more seizures. I mean, you'd think that those medications um, would control the seizures, but they didn't. Um, so last January, um, I had testing done. I was at the epilepsy monitoring unit at Sparrow um, 5 times. And this last time, I was there for a week. Um, and they um, took me off of the medication that was causing me to have more seizures. The last medication that they put me on, besides the one I'm taking right now. Um, and ever since then, my seizures, for a while, it was January of 2019. My seizures started to dwindle, but then they started up again. Um, and I, we couldn't figure out why. So, um, back in the last seizure I had was December 26th of 2019. Um, and it took 6 years for us to find all of my triggers for my seizures, and there's basically a grocery list. There is a lot. I can't have caffeine, um, artificial dyes, artificial sweeteners. Artificial dyes and artificial sweeteners are not good for you anyway. They can both cause many different kinds of cancer. Um, I can't have NSAIDs. Those aren't really good for you either. Um, let's see. There's so many medications that I can't take. Um, and I'm also photosensitive. It's I haven't gone to see fireworks since 2014. Um, which kind of sucks because my family, there's so many opportunities that a lot of my friends and family can enjoy, um, that I can't. Most of the time I can just shrug it off, but other times it hurts. And for the past 7 years, there's periods of time that I don't even remember. It's like them things never happened. Like, I don't remember most of my cousin's wedding. And she got married back in September of 2018. But there's just a lot of things that I don't remember. Um, I remember bits and pieces of my dad and Nana's funerals. Um, in school, I would have to say that was one of the hardest things for me to struggle with. Um, yeah. I was in high school for 8.5 years, trying my hardest to get all of my credits. And then this past school year, I couldn't do it anymore. My seizures were getting to the point where they were getting bad again, and I couldn't do it. So I decided to get my GED. And I have one more GED test, and then I'll be able to get my GED. Um, if I would have known how easy it was to get my GED, I would have done this a long time ago. And I would have been able to live my life. I feel like I'm picking up off of when I was 15. I'm still having a hard time figuring out who I am, how the world works. I'm having problems with relationships, family, friends, and romantic relationships. I've been single for 4 years. Um, But yeah, that was. But yeah, um, that was my like first experience with a seizure. But yeah, hope you guys find this informational. Um, talk to you later.